your heart, I know.
Morning all. How are you? Good, excellent. We have more joining us. Hello, good morning, good morning. Thank you for getting up so early, but this is such an important subject. I'm so thrilled you've joined us this morning. And I am also absolutely delighted that we have Helen Monument with us, who's joined us for both of the days, who is the chair of the World Administrators Alliance. And the World Administrators Alliance is the equivalent of the G7 for your profession. It is made up of the heads of associations from right the way around the world. And they do some absolutely extraordinary work to make sure that all of you get the things that you need to be able to do the job in the best way possible. And so I am absolutely delighted this morning to be sharing the work that we have been doing around the Global Skills Matrix, and to explain to you how that's going to be a document that really changes your life. So can we please welcome Helen Monument.
Thank you, Lucy.
So much.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for getting up so early, everybody. Thank you.
Excellent. So what I wanted to do, first of all, and I probably should get the clicker before I sit down, is to just run through what it all is. We've just introduced you, you all know me, and we've talked a little bit about the World Administrators Alliance, but tell us how many people, how many countries are represented by the World Administrators Alliance, and how many assistants that makes up.
Oh, goodness. We have, at the moment, 33 members of the Alliance, and that is associations and networks, company networks, as well as professional associations and business partners. And we also have one individual member in the Emirates because there is no association there. So if there is no association in the country that you're in, you can join the Alliance as an individual, and we'll do all we can to help you to set up your own association.
But those 33 members, which doesn't sound like an awful lot, how many assistants do they represent?
Well, goodness me, at the World Administrators Summit, which is our working meeting that we have every 2 years, the last one online, of course, because of COVID, the delegates who came represented the voices of over 200,000 administrative professionals from all around the world.
Yes. And so the research that we did in order to create this document in the first place was based on one of the most extensive pieces of research that has ever been done into this profession. And that survey that we did, because what happened was back in 2015, I was lucky enough to be chairing the World Administrators Summit in Papua New Guinea, which is a whole other story, and which is one I'll tell you at the bar later if you want to hear it. But anyway, so I was chairing the summit, and we came up with the idea at that summit that the one thing that you all really needed to professionalize this great profession of ours was a global framework for career progression. And so it took 6 years to put into place, partly because everybody who was working on it was volunteers, but also because it was the most extraordinarily complex thing to put together. And we started off by doing this piece of research to all the members. And look at these stats and how shocking they are. Helen, talk us through them a little bit.
Yes, you can see there that the one that jumped out immediately was the 160, I'll say it again, 160 different job titles. So no wonder the world doesn't understand what it is that we do. And again, really, really shocking, as Lucy said, is that 73% of the people we surveyed felt that their organizations didn't understand their role or the impact of using them properly. Now, that is really frightening. You imagine the engineers of the world was to stand up and say, we don't think our companies are using us properly. All hell would break loose, wouldn't it? But this is something that the Global Administrators Alliance is trying to address through our awareness campaign. So the awareness of the role as a conscious career choice and as a profession. So we need your help for that.
Absolutely. And 58% saying that they felt underutilized. That's the one which, when I talk to your HR departments, they go, oh. Because think about it, what they're actually saying, the assistants, is you're paying us a salary and we feel we could do more. Not more work, by the way. Can I just clarify that? Can I have a show of hands for anybody who thinks they don't have enough work to do? Yes, exactly. You all start laughing slightly manically when I say that. What I'm talking about is utilising you to do the things that you're capable of doing, as opposed to using you for the lesser tasks that they quite often give you. So making you more proactive. So shocking stats, and it showed that we very definitely had something that we had to do about it. And so we decided that what we were going to do is we were going to create a matrix, and the matrix was going to have different levels in it. And we actually, in the beginning, were thinking we would probably have job titles in it, but it became very clear, didn't it, very quickly, that that just was not something that was going to happen.
No, no. This was obviously a country-wide survey, and each country also had the diversity of job titles, and they were saying, well, we think this is the right title, and we think this is the right title. We were never going to agree on a job title. So we're leaving that up to you, and the most simple solution that we came up with was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How easy can it be?
Yes, because what that means is that you can map the job titles that you have in your company to it. And so we have some companies that say, well, actually, we think we've only got 2s and 3s currently. I say, well, that's fine, as long as you know what excellence looks like at a level 2 and 3. And if we're talking about job titles, you know, if you think about it, in the UK, you could have a PA who was working on reception, or you could have a PA who was looking after a CEO. In the States, a PA is someone who looks after somebody of high net worth, or somebody who looks after a celebrity, and the term is usually administrative assistant. In Europe, the term, as you heard yesterday from Nina Ranula, is management assistant. So even just with those few titles, think about how confusing it was. So having 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and making it clear what the skill sets are at each level means that suddenly it opens up a totally new world for you all. So then let's look at what we're trying to achieve by the World Administrators Alliance Global Skills Matrix. Helen, go on, talk us through it a little bit.
Well, the first one there, of course, you can see is to champion the role, as I said, as a career and not just a job. That word just should be banned from our vocabulary. Thank you. Even if you fell into the role, as I did 100 years ago, not having had any experience, I come from the hotel business, so a completely different kettle of fish, and I learned it as I went along. You can come in with qualifications, of course, at a very early age, and I know many of you are working on getting yourself certified and qualified as you go through your career. But it is a career. It's not just a job that anybody can do. I think that's the greatest misconception. So we're hoping to show that there is a structured career path. So as you start your job, your very first job, how you can work your way all the way through the matrix to as high as you want to go. As Lucy said, this is all about excellence. So even if you're happy to stay at the level you are, absolutely fine, but it's all about being the best you can be at that level. And salary expectations, as you can see there on the slide, of course, we couldn't possibly put all the salary expectations from all the countries onto the matrix. That we're leaving that up to the individual companies to fill that in as they have their own salary structures. Countries, industries, and even some departments are different as far as salary expectations go.
But what's interesting about that is that the recruitment agencies are now saying to us that next year their salary surveys are going to be based on Global Skills Matrix, which means that everybody suddenly starts talking the same language, which is really good. Robert Half already has put out to all their clients that this is the way they should be structuring.
Yeah. Have you heard of Robert Half?
Robert Half Office Team is the biggest recruitment company in the world for assistants. It's Robert Half in most of the rest of the world, an Office Team in America, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And they're endorsing the Global Skills Matrix, which is fantastic. I'm so happy with that.
Yes, really good. Okay, please continue.
Yes, and then we talk about training. If you look at the matrix and the level that you're at or the level that you want to get to, you can see the tasks for each level and the skills. Now, if there's a skill that you don't have, you can see it really clearly, and you know what you have to work on. So, HR, training companies, HR and your training departments can see what it is you need to move on to the next step or to be excellent at what you do. And don't wait for them to to offer it to you, go to them and say, look, this is the level I'm at. This is where my gap, this is the gap in my skills. I need to learn this in order to progress, to get better, to be the best I can be for the company.
And this is what the companies are loving, because coming out the other side of COVID, what you're finding is that the businesses are all questioning how they can guarantee return on investment from every member of staff. And the conversation that I'm having with businesses more than anything else at the moment is, I don't understand how we structure our administrative function to make sure that we can see what they're delivering for the company. And so the Global Skills Matrix is a really great way to start with that, because at its heart is performance. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. It means for the first time, they're going to be able to see very clearly the performance of each administrative professional and see how they can manage their career and how they can make sure that you are delivering for the business. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But finally, let's talk then about this internationally recognised qualifications and certifications piece.
Yes, the project, when we started 6 years ago, it was very ambitious. Let's start by saying that, very ambitious. We wanted to not just have the levels with the skills and the tasks, but we wanted to add the qualifications that were required at each level. But we soon found that, first of all, we just didn't have enough data. That was very important, because the input came from 60 odd countries, and it was different for every country. But we didn't have enough data from each of those countries. And some countries, there isn't a recognized credential or qualification. So we took some advice from a training and an education expert in the UK, and he suggested that we wait on this until we get the possibility to do another survey to get more data. And we didn't want to wait and hold up the skills matrix. We wanted to launch and get it out there for you, because it's really, really needed. So we did that. We launched in September last year, and we are looking now at how we can do that next step to get all of the information about what is recognized in each country as far as qualifications and certification goes, and how we can include it in the matrix.
Yes, I think the important thing there is that, as I said, coming out of COVID, everything just changed. So what's one more change? And we were both very, very aware that if we didn't take this opportunity to drive this forward at this point, we would miss that window of opportunity to really get businesses to look at what they could do with their assistants whilst they were redesigning the world of work for everybody else. So that's why we went with that first of all. All right then, so let's talk then. We've talked about a lot of these already, and so I'm just going to go through them, but maybe we can, have we got one more? Yes, there we go. All right, so I think we've talked through most of these. There might be one or two in there that we haven't.
Yes, there's the one about trainers. When you look at a training, you've identified a need for training. Say, I think I need, I don't know, time management skills. Let's just pull that one out of the hat. I need time management skills. So you go and look for a trainer who can give you this training. But what we want to do with the matrix, and we hope we've made it very easy for them, is for them to target their content and their programs and their training courses at a certain level. So they advertise, this is a time management skills training for a level 3 assistant. So that you know, excuse me, you know that, if you're already level 4, then you're not going to learn anything new. So we're giving the trainers an amazing opportunity to really target the training courses and the offerings that they have. I think it's a brilliant idea.
Definitely, but also we're hoping that recruiters will go, this is a role that is aimed at a level 3, or this is a role that's aimed at a level 4, because the recruiters and the HR departments are doing backflips. I haven't yet met one who is saying to me, we don't really think this works, because what they're saying is, for years, they put out a job role and they have hundreds of people apply, most of whom are totally unsuitable. But with this, they're going to be able to say this is a level 3 role. Everybody knows what that means. They get the right people applying. So fantastic. The other thing is, I've been in now to talk to some very serious HR departments, and both Helen and I committed in September that we would spend a year talking to anybody who wanted to hear it for free. So if any of you have HR departments you'd like us to talk to, we'd be absolutely delighted to do so. But when you talk to them, they're like, oh, thank God, They've been asking us to do this for ages and we really didn't know where to start. So now we've got something and we can go back and we can look like heroes because we can say, oh, we found this and we think this is a really good way to do it. But the other thing that I think is so exciting is that the executives are looking at it and the HR departments are looking at it and they're going, oh, we never thought we could use our assistants like this, but actually if the rest of the world is, we're probably missing a trick. So it's kind of giving them the idea that you can work at a much higher level as well. Now, before we show you the actual matrix, I just want to have a very quick word about role profiles and job descriptions.
Yes, so who has a job description? Yeah, when was it last updated? How much dust is is lying in there in the drawer? Come on.
Oh, and does it have that line on the bottom of it that says, and anything else we might like to throw at you? Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
If you don't have a proper job description, how does, first of all, anybody know what you're doing? How do you know what you're expected to be doing? How does your executive know what it is that you're doing? And how are you going to be measured? It's a no-brainer. It really is. I think you should spend in as much time on your job description as you would on your LinkedIn profile, your CV. It should always be up to date and a true reflection of the work that you're doing on a daily basis. So it's a living document. You know, you do your first project. You learned about project management yesterday, how to do that. So you've got your first project and it's been a success. You put it on there. You know, these are your successes and that you should be documenting all the new things that you're learning, all the new tasks that you're getting. And when they, as Lucy said, when they come along and say, oh, can you just, would you just like to take over the supervision of the receptionist? Yeah, put it on the job description. Suddenly you're a leader. That makes a huge difference to your job description. So keep it up to date. We didn't specify job descriptions for each levels. What we have got in the main report are links to role profiles, which will help you to update or create your own job description for the individual levels, for the 5 levels.
But we didn't do job descriptions because I can bet my bottom dollar that every single one of you out there has got a totally different job description and you all do totally different things. And the one thing we didn't want to do is to alienate anybody. We didn't want any of you going, well, that job description doesn't look like me, so I don't fit in this. Same way as we didn't want job titles, because if we'd had job titles and we'd missed any of you, you'd be going, well, that isn't my job title, so this matrix doesn't apply to me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 means that you can go, oh, I see myself at that level, which makes it easier. Talking of which, let's go through it. Let's just talk through it. And it's so simple. It's so simple.
Yes, as I said, it's a no-brainer. 1 to 5. The first level, 1, is this is where you start the career as coming out of college or just beginning your career, or you could be coming back to the role if you've taken a step out for whatever reason. You're coming back and you are doing all those reactive tasks. And we'll look at the levels in detail in a moment. But reactive, so people are giving you work. You're learning about the office. Level 2, you're becoming transactional. So you know your way around the office at level 2, not just how the copier works and how to fill the coffee machine, if that's on your job description, but you understand how the organization works, how the departments interact. Level 3, transactional, moving to strategic. So reactive to proactive. And level 4, you are fully strategic, the business partner. And level 5 is a chief of staff. So let's make it very, very clear. The chief of staff role is, and we'll tell you why you included that in a moment, it's not an assistant role. So we wanted to include it so that everybody can understand exactly what that role is all about, because we're seeing it being misused and abused all over the place because people don't understand what it is. But we'll talk about that.
We will.
In a moment.
So to me, level 1, the entry level, is where you're learning about the job. You're learning about how to work in an office. You remember what it was like when you first joined an office, right? Yeah, well, yes, me too. But you kind of learn how to dress and how to interact with people and how to answer the phone and how to fill the photocopier and just really what the rhythm of a business looks like. So that's level 1, learning what a business works like. Level 2 to me is where you learn your administrative or your secretarial skills. So that's far more the kind, what most people would see as a traditional role of an assistant, I think. And it's interesting to note that in the States, they only have one level of assistant in the Bureau of Labor Statistics as a level, and that is the level 2 assistant. So when you see articles where they say the role is disappearing, that is because they are looking at the level 2, which is the purely transactional task-based stuff. And of course that's going to go, because if you can do something twice in the same way, it can be automated. That's why all of us trainers are training you in how to be strategic, so you can step into the more interesting role. Level 3 is where you are learning about the business. You start to really understand the business, and you're understanding your executives' goals and KPIs and how you contribute to those. And it's really a stepping stone then to a level 4. And I think the level 3 assistants are probably where most assistants get stuck, either because you don't understand what you're capable of, or the business doesn't understand the role. But level 4 is where Helen got to, which is where you are fully proactive. You're a leader in your own right. You're probably attending leadership meetings. You're probably driving projects forward, but certainly you are seen as leadership within the business. And then Chief of Staff, as Helen said, Chief of Staff is driving me nuts, because it was Anne Hyatt, actually, who some of you might have met last night from Google, who created that role of Chief of Staff because she was friends with Reggie Love, who was the Chief of Staff at the White House, and she could see how that would translate into a tech role. But companies all over the place are going, oh, we don't know what to do with REAs, so we're going to give them the title of Chief of Staff. And then because we don't know how else to promote them. And then everybody else who is an EA is going, well, why are they a Chief of Staff? Because I do the same thing that they do. A true Chief of Staff is actually a Senior Vice President role. It is somebody who has change management skills, people management skills. Some assistants can step into it because it's quite process-based. But actually, that whole role is far more about looking inward and managing the rhythm of the business and being a stunt double for the chief executive than anything else. So you can get there, but you probably need an MBA or a qualification in change management or a qualification in people management.
Absolutely.
And it certainly isn't a shoe-in. So, but we included it because we just wanted to go, well, this is what it actually is, rather than this is what you're trying to force. Everything in this profession is so confused. We don't need more confusion, right? So let's show you the actual matrix. And what you will see is, even if you can't see what is actually on it at this point, although we will send you a link to it, or I think there may even be a link in your delegate pack, and we'll show you where you can go and get it. And it's all free. All the materials are free. It's our gift to you, to the profession. So what you can see is that we distilled all the skills that you said into groupings, so that you can see very, very clearly. Because we know your executives and your HR departments have the attention span of a gnat, right? So we wanted something that you can put in front of them and they go, oh, we get this really, really quickly. Helen, talk us through it a little bit.
Well, I can't actually read that, so look at the, look, I don't know if you can read it as well. Is it?
You can actually see it far better if you turn around.
Oh, yes, I can. So, okay. First of all, these are not all of the tasks.
The skills.
Sorry, these are not all of the skills. That would have been possible. It would have been war and peace, right, if we tried to do that. So what we did was pick out the most common tasks and put them here. But of course, this is where the flexibility of the matrix works for you, because you can adjust it to your own situation. So if you just look at the entry level, first of all, as Lucy said, you know, you're finding your way around the office and understanding how everything works. But we also put on the skills like discretion, confidentiality, integrity, emotional intelligence. It's no good waking up at level 3 and thinking, perhaps I need to start to learn how to be emotional intelligent. Oh, might that be an idea? No, you need to start right at level 1 with all of those skills. Problem solving. We're great problem solvers, right? That's what you need. And self-motivated. If you're not self-motivated at level 1, you've got no chance of progressing, I feel. You know, this is all part of what we are and what we do. Then you go on to the transactional level 2. You take the skills, obviously, the skills with you as you go. That's a given from one level to the next. So you add these new skills. You're getting to know the administrative processes in your office. You might even be contributing to writing some of those processes. time management, priority, decision-making, ethical awareness, cultural awareness. This is so important for assistants. And we've seen that in COVID, haven't we? How you've been trying to work at home and manage the people in your team, being aware of all the differences and communicating through a little box. It's all falls on the shoulders of the assistant to make sure that goes well. Level 3, then you get into things like a higher level of communication skills and digital fluency. You really need to be digitally fluent at that level. We did a survey for the World Administrators Summit that's coming up in October, asking what are your needs at the moment. And technology skills, we need more technology skills, was right up at the top. So it's a real hot item.
That's interesting, Helen, because we're finding that most of the senior assistants we're talking to are saying, well, I'm a really good senior assistant. I have got right to the top. But actually, COVID has shown me that my digital skills are not where they need to be.
No.
So if that's you, you're really not alone. It is the biggest stat that we've got coming out of the latest survey that we've done.
Absolutely. Mentoring and coaching, you might find at a particular level that there's something that really catches your attention, that you really think, oh, I'd like to specialize a little bit more in that. So at level 3, learning to mentor and coach people is a great way to start your own leadership education. Stress tolerance and resilience, hugely important, as we've all learned in the past couple of years. And then things like office coordination. So you have office managers doing all kinds of facility tasks at that level. Then the level 4, the strategic, this is the board level, C-suite. How many people think that they're in level 4 already? Yeah.
Yes.
The strategic planning, the critical thinking. You are working as a trusted advisor to your executive at this level. So all of the tasks, I'm not going to go through all the bullets one by one, but you can see. Do you now see how it all fits together? Is it clear? Because we need feedback, obviously, on all of this. And then the chief of staff, the list is very long, obviously. So you can see there the things that Lucy was talking about: leadership and management expertise, organizational and strategic dexterity. You know, this is high level, very high level communication skills, team building and relationship skills, very, very important.
So I think where it all really fits together and it slots together is where you see the tasks alongside that, because the skills matrix on its own is skills, it is behaviours, and that works. But when you start to look then at what the actual tasks are that they are talking about at each level, you suddenly go, oh, yes, okay, I can see how this all slots together. And this is where you can start building your own job description, you can start building your own profile, so that you can see exactly what it is that you are capable of. And if you're looking at it from the point of view of what we were talking about, you can see very clearly from this that at a level 1, it is the really, really basic stuff that you would do in an office. At a level 2, it is the secretarial skills, the administrative skills, the basic level. And I still get really shocked about the fact that the States have only got that one level, and that's where it sits, because no wonder there's so much confusion then, right? Level 3, you can see you're starting to maybe get into doing some projects, probably not leading them for yourself, starting to get into mentoring, maybe doing some management, but certainly moving from that being reactive into being proactive and driving your own career forward and driving your executive's career forward as well. Level 4, as Helen said, C-suite or board level, but very much a leader in your own right. And you can see all the different tasks on there. I don't need to go through them with you. And chief of staff, again, if you look at chief of staff, you can see exactly what that is. There's real clarity.
Yeah.
But at the heart of all of this is absolutely performance. It's about saying, if I am a level 3 assistant, I want to be the very best level 3 assistant I can be. And what does that look like? What does that look like? So if you put the two side by side, and we're not going to go through these in detail, but you can see for each level what the skills are and what the tasks are. And it makes it very clear then.
Exactly. And you'll notice it's just 2 pages. So skills on one page, task on the other page, because we know that the executives, as Lucy said, have got the attention span of a gnat, and they want to be given something. This is what it's all about. They need to understand it at one glance, because if it takes too long to explain, if it's not clear, they're not interested. It takes too much time. So they love looking at something really really clear. And what can be clearer? Just 2 pages.
Yeah, so that's level 1. Level 2, you can see when it sits side by side, you know, the calendar management, the travel arranging, the email triage, all the relatively basic secretarial skills. Level 3, as I said, it is very much the proactive, you know, moving from the reactive to the proactive. And obviously you're taking, as Helen said, the learnings from 1 and 2 with you. So as you're moving up in your career, you're taking the learnings from before with it. A level 4, well, you can see the step up to a level 4, right? And where I'm talking to businesses, many businesses have got level 3s, but they don't have level 4s. That's where they're suddenly waking up and going, oh gosh, okay, yes, this is where we could really be utilizing our assistance. We understand it. Very big jump, isn't it, I think, for the majority.
Yes.
Yes. And then level 5, it's over 2 pages because it's so many different skills and tasks. But you can see that is not just a senior EA role, is it? That is something that is actually quite senior management if you're looking at the tasks. So we have, if you go to our website, which will give you the address in a minute, all sorts of different resources. You can download the full report, which is long, but you can also download the executive summary so that they don't get bored. If they're really interested, then they can download the main report, but to get their attention, first of all, maybe give them the executive summary. There are also letters on there that you can send to HR. And this lady is Sarah Richson. She is one of the top 10 HR professionals in the world. And we're very lucky. She used to be an EA and she works with us a lot. So she has written a letter that you can send to HR that's written in their language, which explains why they should be looking at the skills matrix. But I love this quote in the middle of it. It ties into performance, KPIs and goals for assistants. We want to encourage excellence at each level. Every assistant will have their own journey and should feel they can attain excellence at their level. This ties into creating a world-class administrative function, which underpins what the stakeholder goals and KPIs are for each business. It's magic, actually. I just before we give you the details, I want to just talk to you very briefly, and then you can ask us some questions for 5 minutes. But we recently went into a huge company in the States. There were 500 assistants. Every assistant had been employed by the executive, not by HR. So every single one had a totally different job description. There were 60 different job titles. And the performance management was all being done individually by their managers who actually had no experience of what an admin should be doing at all. So they called us and said, can we help them to restructure this so that we are bringing some order to the chaos that they had found within the company? And we've really helped them to do that. We've really helped them to do that. And obviously, we've said to them, okay, let's look at what the company needs, first of all. That's how we're working with companies. What do you need for assistance in the first place? And then let's look at what you've got. And then let's look at how we marry the two. And of course, right now, they're doing that in a paper-based way. But I'm very excited that we're in the process of building a piece of technology that will allow you to test what level you're at. So your business will be able to take this piece of technology and we'll be able to say, right, we're going to test all of our assistants and see what we've got, so that then they can manage that and they can hold on to that and keep testing you. So they can see at the end of a year where you've had training, whether people have gone up in the levels, which I think is very exciting. But to me, what was the most exciting thing about that is that we did the math. And we said, okay, so if coming out of that, each of those assistants saves their executive 1 hour. And this is at the junior level management. We didn't take senior level management into account. We didn't take savings in recruitment costs or finding amazing assistants that at the moment are hidden or getting rid of the ones that they're saying are retired in situ. Yes? If you look at that, the saving to the business was $88,000 a week. A week. That justifies some training, doesn't it? You know, that's a total case for doing it to me. So then let's talk about where they can find the information, Helen.
Right. Globalskillsmatrix.com, very simple, of course. I do have a little flyer for you here. And I have to confess that I've just tried the QR code and it doesn't work, sadly. Sorry about that. But it does give you all the details and the website where you can go and download everything. So as Lucy said, there's a full report there, the executive summary, and what we've got are some really nice graphics that we would love for you to download and use on your own social media. So you get back to your office or on the train home or whatever, download one of those graphics and say, you know, this is what I heard at Live in London, and it's a whole new fantastic thing, and I'm going to be talking about this. So you don't have to you know, invent anything fancy. Just use our graphics. Everything's been beautifully branded, thanks to Lucy and her team. They've done an amazing job. And so yeah, download those graphics and use them on your social media when you talk about the Global Skills Matrix. Press releases we've done as well, and they are just all of this stuff, as Lucy said, free to use. There's a how to use it document, and that's aimed at individuals. It's aimed at associations, because we really want to get the associations on board talking about this with their members and having workshops and giving us feedback. There's the slide presentation template so that you can use it. There's a script with it as well, so you can present this in your own company with confidence. And there are brand guidelines, because that's very important to say that this is the intellectual property of the World Administrators Alliance. So you always have to use our branding and reference our name, of course. And translations, I'm really, really happy about this. It says here on that there's English, but now we have Portuguese, we have French, we have Dutch, we have German, we have Italian. Thank you, Carla. Carla's been doing that with her team in Italy. Fantastic. That's going up on the website next week, the Italian version. And this in the making is Japanese as well, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Yes, just fantastic. So,
oh, and this one, sorry, of course, this is the supplement that Lucy and her magazine produced, the Executive Support magazine supplement on the Global Skills Matrix. So you download this, and it's got some fantastic articles and endorsements, as well as having the executive summary in it, reports and by people like Hallie Warner and Simona White, who you may have heard speak before, and just gives you more selling points. It tells you more detail, and it gives you all of the right language to use when you're talking about the Global Skills Matrix. So you can download this. I've only got one copy left, so this is mine. But download it and share it, please.
Lovely. So we are going to do just 5 minutes of Q&A before I throw you out to get coffee and we reset the room for the main day. So Katie over there, who is my lovely intern, who's working with us for the summer, is going to run around the room if any of you have got questions. So yes, if you have questions, hand up, and wait for the microphone, please, because we want the people in Hybrid Land to be able to hear what you're saying. Morning, Hybrid Land, by the way. Very nice to have you with us. Thank you for getting up so early.
Hi, my name is Rajana. I'm from India. I was talking to Lucy just before we started. I really struggle, how to make the KPIs countable. You do a lot of things, like we all do a lot of things which are not in our job profile, and we tend to take more responsibilities to make our executives' life free. But I really struggle how to make it quantifiable.
How to put KPIs together and
exactly.
goals together for yourself.
We do a lot of things, but putting them in writing is sometimes a big struggle. Of course, your matrix will help us to talk about our skills and what we need, but when it actually comes to the reality, that's my struggle. So if you can help me with something.
Yes, I think having the skills matrix and having the understanding of what the expectation is at each level means that when you're setting the goals for the year, supposing you were wanting to move from a 3 to a 4, so you would be looking and saying, what are the skill sets that I don't have yet at a level 4, and maybe set yourself a goal to make sure that you're getting training in some of those things. And it makes the request for training so much easier, doesn't it? Because it means that you're able to say, well, this is a global framework, and therefore for me to get to where I need to be. And let's be clear here. Yes, of course it's about you, but what the business is really interested in is what's in it for them and what's in it for your executive. So what you want to do is to take the things that you really want to do, where you want to step up, and go to them and say, I am going to need training in this, and what you are going to get back out of that is this. And this isn't just me coming telling you this is training I want. This is what the World's Administrators Alliance, which is hundreds of thousands of assistants, are saying is how it's best going to benefit the business. Does that make sense? Yes. We can talk more. We can talk more afterwards. Great. Thank you. There was another hand up. Yep. Oh, yes, over here. Let's go here. And I've seen you. I'm coming to your next.
Hi. I've got a bit of a two-parter, but the first one is, if people fall between two, would you kind of like put them up or down, kind of?
That's really interesting, because obviously how you progress within one level, it depends on many things. How much opportunity do you get to grow? Where do you start? If you come into a level, there's still so much to learn. So it could take you a year, it could take you 2 years. So see each level not as a fixed term or a fixed pigeonhole that somebody's put you in. Within that level, within each level, there is an area of growth. So you progress through the level before you progress to the next level. And I know that some companies that I've talked to have even said, well, you know, we can fit what we have into the matrix, or the other way around, but we can do it in, you know, 3A, 3B. That's how we see it. So, you know, this is what we want people to use.
It's a template. It isn't this is set in stone. And the reason it's the way that it is so that it's fluid. So that, for example, I went and I talked very recently to the Law Society. And they, of course, their assistants do very different things to a lot of you. But the whole point is that a company can take it and can say, okay, how do we now use this framework to put into it what our assistants actually do, and make sure that they therefore have career progression? Because how many was the stat that said they didn't have career progression? It was ridiculous. Ridiculous in the 70s, certainly in the 70%.
That's the second part of my question. If I know you've got level 1 for new people into the office or returners. I've got some people in some of my teams that are at level 1 but have no interest in going further.
Yeah, fine.
So that's fine.
Yes.
No, it's just because of the way it was titled at the top. So it's making them feel more, they don't need to move up.
Certainly. I think the world of work is changing anyway, though. I mean, I think a lot of those level 1s will probably start off on reception. You know, it's certainly for a lot of us, I think, where we start, isn't it? And on reception is now changing. I don't know whether any of you saw on Global the great presentation by Michelle Bowditch, but she was saying that is more likely now to come under marketing, because it's about first impressions of the business when people come into the office. So I think there's a whole piece there that's saying, okay, so those level 1 people are probably the most likely to be the brand ambassadors for the business when people are first contacting. So let's train them to be the best that they can be at doing that, if that's what they want to do. And for some of us, you know, because of maybe where we are in our lives or our situation or whatever, we don't want to get above a level 1. We don't want to be stressed. So, you know, and that's fine, but let's make them the best level 1 they can possibly be. Yes. And this is our last question now before we break. Hang on, let's just get you a microphone.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Vera. I'm from Switzerland, and thank you very much for this great presentation. My question is, when you're talking about when you talk with companies or HR departments, have you done this only in Great Britain right now and the US? And what is your plan, or where have you been? What is your plan to go to other countries?
Good question. Thanks for that, Vera. We have, Lucy and I have done about 45 webinars now since September in 16 different countries. So this is it hasn't even been a year yet. I mean, it's taken 6 years to get this together, but we haven't been talking it yet for a year. So we are introducing it. We're telling everybody about it, spreading the word, and that's where the messages start. So this is why we need your help to help us take this through to the companies. And many companies, as Lucy said, they've approached us and said, we need your help with this. So come and talk to us, come and help us understand how we can use this amazing tool to rearrange or reorganize our business support function. Because we believe that business support function should be as recognized as sales, marketing, technology, or whatever. And I was lucky enough to, the last 12 years of my career, worked at Shell, and there was a business support function with a skill pool leader who understood the job. So everybody was ranked in the same way. We had uniform job descriptions, and it was really, really, that was sort of like the poster child for a business support function, I think. But we have been talking in many, many countries, and this is where we hope the translations will help as well.
And we want to talk in a lot more.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, yes.
We're really happy to go talk to anybody.
Absolutely. And it's a free webinar, 45 minutes. So if you... Are you all right? Oh, dear.
I was fine until the end. There we go.
So yes, if you haven't, or if you think, yes, this is something I'd like to introduce my HR manager to or my executive, can you do the webinar for us? We're very happy to do that for you.
Yes, we are. So thank you all very much for your time this morning. Thank you for coming along. Both Helen and I are around all day if you want to come and talk to us. But for now, thank you very much, Helen. And we will be back here at 9 o'clock to start off the show properly. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.